Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJ City UK lab, and today I'm reviewing the Pioneer XDJ-700 media players, the latest from Pioneer DJ. Now, these follow in the footsteps of the XDJ-1000, which came out at the end of 2014. That was their first player which didn't have a CD drive, and likewise with these, no CD drive in there. So your options for playback are, you can play off USB sticks, USB drives, you can link over the Pro DJ Link, the Ethernet port, to your laptop and play with Rekordbox that way, or you can link over USB and use them as controllers for HID and so on. Now, I'll talk a bit on that a bit later on. It's pretty limited at the moment. Really, as of the time of this review, if you want these, you're going to be wanting to use Rekordbox exported media onto USB sticks or USB drives. But we'll talk about that functionality first of all. So it's basically as good as Rekordbox gets when it comes to that kind of thing. So you've got all of your options there. You put in your stick or hit the link and you can load up your settings that you've got saved to the media, and then we can browse our tracks. We can load up. We've got the large waveform, gives you the detail. You can zoom in and out. You can adjust the beat grid by holding down the encoder as well. You've got that overview waveform down the bottom. You've got your BPM display. You've got sync and master. If you've got these linked together, you can sync up to 4 players at once. You've got quantize. You've got your memory points, so we can set a memory point wherever we want, and they'll obviously load up when you load your track from your USB stick, and we can call those. And then we've got the perform mode, like with the XDJ-1000 as well. So you've got your hot cues, so we can set a hot cue. We can have the looping on. We've got a slip mode with the looping then, so you can do like loop rolls. We've got reverse as well. And all of that accessible from that perform screen. You've still got the waveform, you've still got the overview waveform as well. These screens are great. They are basically very, very similar to the XDJ-1000 screens. The real difference being that you haven't got the beat jump on here, which you had on the 1000. That is something, having used it, I do kind of miss it, but it's not the end of the world. And if you're going out to clubs and playing on the bigger players like the 2000 Nexus, that doesn't have beat jump either. And again, having used the 1000 for a good long while, I can assure you, these touch screens, they last. They're fine. I've got no issues with them whatsoever. It's not as nice as using physical controls. There's no question about that. When it comes to, for example, just going through the memory points and stuff, it's nicer to have the dedicated buttons on the CDJ-2000 Nexus there and jump through them there. It's nicer to have the hot cues on physical buttons. But with these, we are talking about very compact players. They're tiny. They're not quite as small as the older sort of CDJ-400 and that kind of thing, but we have got this removable base on there. So you can basically pull the base off and then they become really low profile, almost like a controller. Very, very portable. You can carry them around wherever you want. One difference again with the XDJ-1000, that had the knob for adjusting the start and break time together, which I wasn't a massive fan of. This one, you've got no option for changing the startup, but you have got the option for just setting a final break. There's no adjustment for it, but it's a nice setting, works just fine. I prefer that to the XDJ-1000 option, to be honest. And you've got the smaller overview waveform down the bottom, and it being a touchscreen, you can go along the track just by putting your finger on there. Also, like the 1000, you've got the touchscreen QWERTY keyboard for searching for tracks. It's the best Rekordbox search experience going. You've got the smaller jog wheel though, which is, to be honest, not as nice as the bigger jog wheels. It's functionally kind of similar. It's a mechanical jog wheel. It's not like the DJSX, jogs, that kind of stuff, where it's all touch based. This is a mechanical jog wheel. So it's got a very similar kind of feel, but it is that bit smaller, and you don't have the central section in the middle to actually see where you are in relation to your 12 o'clock or your cue point. It's just not as nice to use. So if you're a big, scratcher, you like to do cutting in your sets, probably going to want to stick to the bigger player, the XDJ-1000, which is an extra 300 bucks. One area I'm not mad about on these is you've got a little DC power brick instead of a built-in internal power supply, which is fine. I mean, it's obviously a space-saving measure. Compared to the bigger players, it is a bit of a letdown to have to carry that little DC power brick around with you. It's not ideal, but you can kind of see why they've done it, because even though there's no CD drive in here, they've really miniaturized everything in this so much. Now we do need to talk about HID with these. Now of course HID, if you're not familiar, that is the protocol whereby basically you hook up USB to the back of these, hook into your computer and control your software with them, using them like MIDI controllers, but it's all kind of pre-mapped, very tightly mapped. Jog wheel response is very good, unlike MIDI mapping a jog wheel. So at the moment, this is what we got with these. Rekordbox, the Plus Pack, you know, their full-on performance software. You can link to that with these and the USB, but you don't get the big waveforms. And at this point, when I'm making this video, you don't even get the small waveforms and the ability to look through your library. It's super limited. Now, in the release notes of the new Rekordbox, it says that is coming in December 2015. So that will be okay. But there's no support been announced for Traktor or for Serato. Now, based on the XDJ-1000, I'm sure that will come, but if you're waiting, you know, don't buy these until you can, if you really want to use them with Serato or Traktor, don't buy these until you've confirmed that's coming, because at the moment, it's not on the agenda. So bear that in mind. Virtual DJ, I expect, will just support everything like they normally do. So no doubt there'll be HID supported in Virtual DJ very soon. But yeah, those other two platforms, nothing as yet. So just bear that in mind. And HID with Rekordbox is kind of limited, and even when it's finished, you know, I've used the CDJ-2000 Nexuses with Rekordbox and the Plus Pack, and they've updated the HID on that. It's always limited compared to the Rekordbox exported media or the link. It's always limited. These players are really at their best when you've got those USB sticks in there and you're just playing, you've got the big waveforms, all those abilities to customize the way you work, your browsing and everything else is very fast. I think if you are looking at these and you want to use them with software, I think you're wasting your time and I think you're wasting your money. I think you should get a controller, because, you know, 700 bucks each, you're talking about 1,400 bucks for a pair. You can get a very nice controller for 1,400 bucks. That will include the mixer part as well. And that's from Pioneer or any number of other manufacturers as well. You can get a really nice controller. So if you're dead set on using, you know, Serato or Traktor or even Rekordbox as a performance software, I think you're better off sticking with a controller. I really do. These shine when you've got them in that Rekordbox performance. It's hard to call it the same thing, but you know what I mean. The USB sticks or the Ethernet link, that's when these come alive, and that's when these are really worth the money and really good value. The other option, of course, the other competitor in the range is the XDJ-RX, which is all-in-one Rekordbox, got a nice screen in the middle, and it's got a nice mixer section as well, so you've got built-in effects and so on. You can record to the unit. That comes in at 1,500 bucks, whereas this is 1,400 for a pair of these. That's a difficult choice. If you only ever use your stuff at home, then the RX is probably the way to go, because you're getting a bit more in terms of the value for it. 100 bucks extra, you're getting a nice mixer built in. With these, you are going to need a mixer. It's hard to get a nice mixer for 100 bucks. You probably end up spending a little bit more, but you've got that flexibility, that compact size to take them out actually with you, take one out with you if you want a third deck somewhere, and that kind of flexibility can't really be matched by the RX. So a really good product. You know, fundamentally, I've used them, was quite happy using these instead of 2000 Nexuses at my gig. No issues with it. I know the touchscreen is durable and it lasts because I've worked with it now for a year with the XDJ-1000, all fine. The jog wheels are not as nice, but you're paying, you know, with the XDJ-1000, you're paying a price of portability compared to these 700s. These are so much more portable. So yeah, pretty much unmatched in the market. You know, that's a really interesting place for Pioneer to be. I hope Denon, and maybe other companies as well, I hope, but at least Denon, I do hope they come back in 2016 with some kind of standalone media player solution. Because right now, Pioneer DJ are owning it. They completely run it. There's no other option out there that competes with these, where you can just lose that laptop. So yeah, I hope for a bit more competition on that front. I'd like to see it, because right now, nothing to match these. Thank you very much for watching today. Make sure you subscribe for all our future tips, tricks, and product reviews. I'll see you soon.